Most people don't recognize danger when it's quiet. They expect explosions, outbursts, and obvious signs of anger. But when it comes to the Sigma male, the warning signs aren't loud. They're silent. And that silence is where the real danger hides. The Sigma male is patient. Not just a little patient, deeply patient. He watches. He listens. He gives space. And when people test him, he doesn't react the way most men do. He doesn't lash out. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't threaten. He simply observes. And he keeps score in silence. This can confuse people. They think, if he hasn't said anything, maybe it doesn't bother him. So they keep pushing, testing his boundaries, underestimating his limits. But what they don't understand is that a Sigma male's patience has a breaking point, and when that moment comes, there's no warning shot. No second chance. No emotional explanation. He doesn't show his anger. He delivers it. Quietly. Powerfully. And without apology. Testing a Sigma male's patience is one of the biggest mistakes someone can make. Not because he'll explode, but because he won't. He'll respond with action that leaves no doubt where he stands, and why you'll never get the same version of him again. This video breaks down the 6 reasons why pushing a Sigma male too far is something you'll regret. If you've ever thought his silence meant surrender, or his patience meant weakness, keep watching. Because once his patience runs out, so does your place in his life. Reason number 1. The calm before the storm is deceptive. The Sigma male is built on control. He doesn't let emotions run wild. He doesn't argue for the sake of being heard. And he doesn't show frustration easily. So when something bothers him, he holds it in, not to hide it, but to study it. He pays attention to every detail. Every word. Every repeated behavior that disrespects his time, his values, or his boundaries. But instead of reacting right away, he stores it. He processes it. He watches how deep the pattern goes. To the outsider, this looks like nothing is wrong. He still shows up. He still speaks calmly. He might even smile. That's what makes it dangerous. Because people assume that no reaction means everything's fine. They believe they've gotten away with something. But they haven't. What they're actually doing is digging a hole. Slowly. Quietly. And the Sigma male is letting them. Not because he's weak, but because he wants to be sure. He gives people chances. He tests their consistency. He gives room for correction. But when those chances are wasted, when the disrespect keeps coming, he makes a decision. And once that decision is made, there's no turning back. The storm doesn't come with shouting or chaos. It comes with absence. With a message that's felt more than heard. With a shift so sharp that people don't even realize what happened until it's too late. That's the risk of misreading his calm. People assume it's passivity. They don't understand that his stillness is preparation, that his patience is a countdown, and that once it reaches 0, the person standing in front of him will meet a version of him they never expected. By the time they realize what they triggered, the damage is already done. The calm man they thought they could push is gone. And in his place is someone who has nothing left to say and nothing left to give. Reason number 2. He never forgets offenses. The Sigma male has a powerful memory, not just for facts or information, but for experiences. Especially the ones that matter. He might not say much when something happens. He might nod and move on. But that doesn't mean he forgot. It means he's storing it. He remembers the subtle digs, the quiet betrayals, the times someone dismissed his boundaries, ignored his words, or took advantage of his silence. He doesn't hold on to these things to build resentment. He holds on to them as proof. Evidence of where someone truly stands. Other people might need loud arguments or dramatic moments to realize a relationship is broken. The Sigma doesn't. One repeated pattern is all he needs. He doesn't need a final fight. He just needs one more sign that someone hasn't changed, and that's enough. He doesn't go around talking about it. He won't tell everyone what someone did to him. That's not his style. He lets actions speak. And when the time comes, he responds with quiet, focused clarity. He's not messy. He's not emotional. He's just done. The regret others feel doesn't come from what he said. It comes from what he didn't say. The way he stopped responding. The way he stopped showing up. The way he erased the connection without warning. That's when they realize he was keeping score the whole time. His patience gives people time to show their true nature. And when they do, he believes them. He doesn't need to be convinced. He doesn't beg for apologies. He doesn't chase. He lets the record speak for itself. And once he's made up his mind, he walks away carrying only what matters. And that never includes the people who tested his patience one too many times. Reason number 3, his reactive strike is surgical. When most people snap, they do it loudly. Yelling, blaming, emotional chaos. But not the Sigma male. If his patience finally breaks, he doesn't explode. He strikes. Not with noise, but with precision. He doesn't react out of emotion. He reacts out of clarity. He's been observing, taking notes, studying every move. So when he finally responds, he does it with full knowledge of where to hit and how deep to go. That's what makes his reaction so brutal. It's not random. It's not rushed. It's controlled. And that control gives it power. If someone's been disrespecting him at work, he won't just complain, he'll move in a way that leaves them irrelevant. If someone in a relationship keeps crossing boundaries, he won't argue, he'll leave without warning, with nothing left to fix. If a friend betrays his trust, he won't make a scene, he'll cut the bond like it never existed. People expect drama. They expect a fight. But the Sigma doesn't give them that satisfaction. What they get instead is silence, followed by action. And that action always hits harder, because it's not driven by panic, but by principle. When he's pushed to his edge, the Sigma's response is clean, sharp, and final. And that's what catches people off guard. They thought they could keep poking. They thought he'd keep taking it. But when he moves with force, and there's no discussion afterward. By the time they feel the impact, it's already done. The damage isn't just emotional, it's personal. They realize they weren't dealing with someone who couldn't react. They were dealing with someone who waited long enough to make sure that when he did, he wouldn't have to do it twice. Reason number 4, he withdraws completely. When a Sigma male runs out of patience, he doesn't get louder, he disappears. And that disappearance isn't temporary. It's complete. He doesn't just take a break. He closes the door and walks away fully. This is one of the hardest responses for people to deal with, because it doesn't come with closure. It comes with silence. No long talks. No warnings. No second chances. Just distance that doesn't shrink. He stops replying. Stops checking in. Stops giving energy to the situation. To him, the connection is already dead. There's no fixing it. No repairing it. And no interest in trying. That's how he protects himself. This withdrawal isn't about proving a point. It's about protecting his space. Once he feels a connection has drained him, disrespected him, or crossed the line too many times, he retreats. And when he does, he's not leaving a trail behind. He doesn't tell mutual friends what happened. He doesn't try to make others take sides. He just leaves. Quietly. Completely. Like the connection never existed. People often try to reach back out. They realize what they lost. They apologize. They make promises. But the Sigma doesn't go back. He doesn't reopen doors he chose to close. Because he knows something that many people don't. Some connections aren't worth saving. That clean break can be painful for others. But for him it's freedom. He gave his patience. He gave his chances. And when those were burned, so was the bridge. He's not angry. He's just unavailable. And that kind of exit doesn't just hurt, it lingers. Because it leaves people wondering what they could have done to stop it. But by then, it's already too late. Reason number 5, he lets consequences unfold. The Sigma male doesn't believe in revenge. He doesn't believe in warning shots. And he definitely doesn't believe in begging for respect. When someone crosses him, he doesn't try to teach them a lesson. He just steps back and lets the world do it for him. He knows something simple but powerful. People always reveal themselves. And their actions always catch up. So instead of wasting energy trying to control the outcome, he watches, silently, and lets the consequences hit. If someone betrays him, he doesn't rush to expose them. He just steps aside. And as their behavior continues, others start to see it. Their lies, their games, their patterns, they all come to light eventually. If someone underestimates him, he doesn't explain his worth. He just continues building. And while they're still mocking or doubting, they wake up one day and realize how far ahead he is and how they're no longer invited into his life. This isn't spite. It's strategy. The Sigma male doesn't fight with fools. He doesn't argue with people who don't want to understand. And he doesn't correct people who already made up their minds. He simply lets the natural weight of their own choices fall back on them. And by the time they realize what they've done, the Sigma is already gone. Not in anger, but in progress. People who test his patience often expect a show. They expect drama, retaliation, or a loud exit. But what they get is silence. And then, slowly, the reality that they played themselves. He lets the world teach the lesson. He just moves on, unbothered and untouchable. Reason number 6, he rebuilds without you. When a Sigma male decides he's done, he doesn't try to patch things up. He doesn't go looking for validation. He doesn't open the door halfway to see if you'll come back with better intentions. He closes it and starts rebuilding without you. This is what truly stings for the people who pushed him too far. Because they expect a pause. They expect to be missed. They think maybe after some time he'll soften up and reach back out. But that moment never comes. The Sigma male doesn't stay in places that cost him his peace. And once that space is gone, he uses it to rebuild his life in silence. He doesn't just move on, he levels up. He starts focusing more on his goals, his work, his personal vision. And every time he makes progress, every time he becomes stronger, sharper and more focused, the people who tested him start to realize what they lost. But he doesn't rebuild with bitterness. He doesn't make moves to prove a point. He does it for himself. And that's what makes it so final. Even if someone apologizes, even if they suddenly see the damage they did, he doesn't go back. Because in his world, trust doesn't reset, it's replaced. And once it's broken, he starts creating a future that doesn't include the people who broke it. What hurts others the most is seeing that he didn't just walk away, he evolved. That evolution is quiet but undeniable. It's in the way he speaks, the way he lives, the way he no longer needs to explain himself. They might try to return, try to re-enter, but the Sigma doesn't open doors to the past. Not when he's already built a future that doesn't need what used to hold him back. And that's what makes testing his patience a mistake people don't forget. Because once he's done, the version of him they knew is gone. And in its place is a stronger, wiser man who doesn't miss what he let go. People often mistake calmness for weakness. They think the man who stays silent is soft. That patience means tolerance. But with the Sigma male, patience is just another form of power. He gives people room to show who they are. He waits. He watches. He stays still. But that stillness has limits. And once those limits are crossed, there's no going back. He stays quiet, not because he doesn't notice, but because he's giving people the opportunity to correct themselves. And when they don't, he removes himself completely. No noise. No warning. Just a shift that can't be reversed. He strikes with clarity. He withdraws fully. He lets natural consequences unfold. And most of all, he rebuilds in silence, never once looking back at the people who tested his limits. Testing a Sigma male's patience is like standing in still water that looks shallow, until you step in too far and realize it drops without warning. By then it's too late to swim back. So if you know someone who's patient, quiet and controlled, respect the space they give you. Because once they stop giving it, you don't get it back. If this spoke to you or reminded you of someone in your life, drop a comment. Share it with someone who underestimates quiet strength. And subscribe if you value self-respect, discipline and emotional control. Because in the end, the quietest man in the room might be the one you should never test.